got you about 200 feet closer to the low-level jet tonight. There it is overhead, and just a lot of stratocumulus. Not much stratus, actually, so the moisture is a little bit on the low side this evening, but we're expecting a whole lot more of that to surge into the area overnight. Let's take a look at the maps here. This is how it looked this morning, about 12 hours ago, and you can see the start of the low-level jet, 30 knots right there at Del Rio. But offshore, only about 10 to 15 knots, so there's not really a whole lot of forcing taking place up in the West Texas area at this time. So that's one of the themes for tonight is a lack of forcing and maybe not as much of a low-level jet as we would normally expect with a situation like this. Let's go over to the SPC page, and we'll pull up the most current data. See if we've got the 0Z data in, and it appears we do. I think we might have been looking at old data. Let me go back to that chart here. Yeah, I think something kind of weird is going on here. 8th at 12Z, and then they skipped right ahead to the 10th at 0Z. I think we were looking at data that was about 24 hours old. So let's go ahead and flip over to SPC. And now we are current with the charts there. So right now we're looking at about 20 to 25 knots and about 30 at Shreveport there. And the flow is a little bit veered coming out of the southwest there. But the green indicating mixing ratio, where we have 10 grams per kilogram, that's going to be about 50's dew points up at about 5,000 feet, and 15, that's going to be around 60. So it is slowly coming up, and that's about all I have to say about that. There's the moisture we have to work with tonight. And let's go up to 500 millibars and see what things look like. Kind of a flat flow here. Pretty much straight west-northwest to east-southeast there. And the main upper-level jet up there in the central plains, and maybe a tiny bit of the subtropical jet showing here. To really pick that out, we're going to have to go up all the way up to 250 millibars. And there we go. You can see the 100 knots right there at Del Rio. And let's see here. I think I would maybe go with something like that for the subtropical jet. I don't know. It's kind of crossing the contours here, so I think for now we would probably put a segment right there, about 100 to 120 knots, and then this up here is probably, I'm not too sure. I'm not sure whether that's a subtropical jet or not. This here is definitely the polar front jet, though, since that's up where we have the baroclinicity that we've seen over the past day or two. Okay, so now we're starting to get kind of an idea what's happening, and this is the first that I've seen of any of the charts this evening. So let's take a look at the mesoscale and see what kind of situation we're looking at for the next 24 hours. There's our southerly flow coming out of the Gulf. The coloring is temperature. And during the day today, pretty strong warm-up, especially right off the Cap Rock in this area, east of Lubbock. Some of those areas got up to about 82 degrees today. And we're starting to see a little bit of a cold front coming out of the Panhandle right there. Now let's see, I think there's also a warm front. Maybe something like that right there. We transition from temperatures around 70 around Dallas all the way down to mid-60s in northeast Oklahoma there. Let me get that back where we, yeah, that's going to be the current chart there. We've actually got a few mid-50s all the way back in here, so I'm not exactly sure where we would place that warm front. Maybe something like that right there. And that's our picture of the fronts. That's probably about as good as I can do right there. All right, overnight, you can see we've got some cyclogenesis out in West Texas there. The flow starts coming around from southwest to south-southeast tonight. And then as the evening goes on, low pressure south of Childress right there. Maybe a bit of a warm front in that area. And let's see how things look at dawn. Kind of a quasi-stationary low pressure area. And then around noon, there's our warm up there. Not much movement to the patterns. However, I'm seeing a little bit of a temperature gradient forming between Waco and southwest Arkansas. So this suggests that maybe we got a configuration like that tomorrow. And that's what's going to be the key to the severe weather tomorrow, if that does form. Pretty good dry slot forming in the Edwards Plateau right there. And then by evening, looks like we have a low pressure center right there west of Waco. Kind of a backdoor front here. And then, yeah, it does look like a warm front from Houston connecting back up to that low pressure area, sort of like that there. Also, possible boundary through here. You can see the winds coming together in this region, kind of an inverted trough in this area here. And let's see what else. Another little feature up here. And this has kind of the look of a, kind of an outflow boundary look. And then another surge of cold air up to the north. So quite a few boundaries showing on the charts. And also we've probably got a dry line. That's about where we would see that with a situation like this. Probably just west of I-35, west of Waco, Austin, and San Antonio there. Okay, let's go ahead and bring this forward and look at the soundings. 10th at 0Z. Fort Worth, well, we've got a lot of clouds there, 5,000 to 7,000 feet, and you can see that that's going to be right in this area here. So, a bit of moisture spreading out beneath this inversion. Yeah, it's about 5,000 to 6,000 feet there. Dry air starting to show up in the mid-levels. And then above that, that's where we're going to find the cirrus. And here we can see the southerly flow starting to pick up from the Gulf there. 20 to 25 knots out of the southwest there at Dallas. Okay, let's bring up the infrared imagery. Tons of cirrus coming across Texas there, and it looks like maybe a little bit of clearing around New Mexico, so possibly a bit of shortwave ridging in the Four Corners area. And then as we go further out west, we start picking up the clouds big time in California, and that's probably what's coming this way overnight. All right, let me take a look at the chat here. Got quite a crowd tonight. Yeah, a little discussion about the stream. How to reset that because the mixing board was pointing at the wrong opening file, so I had to get that sorted out. 13 degrees, good grief, that's cold up there in Michigan. Shirley Keese, thanks for that. Adam Davis reporting first day of spring break. Let's see, Fun with Tech is here, Electric Dog, Justin Pulliam, Carl Berghoff, Jeff Krob is here, Brett Dean digging out from 7 inches of snow, 36 degrees out in his area. David Holcomb is delivering pizza, sounds really good there. Got Brett Dean here. Ron Chalfant is here, and Mike Estwick. Victor Cabot, new name there. Welcome, Victor. Hiker AZ says, bear down, go Cats. Ron Chalfont reporting a good stream there in Southern California. Carl Burkhoff reminding everybody to like, subscribe, comment, all that. Yeah, absolutely. Maps and graphics not centered on screen. That might have been earlier. Let me check my feed here. Okay, yeah, it looks good over here. And, okay, we're going to go ahead and push forward. Take a look at the moisture there. So this is pretty characteristic of subtropical jet. You can see a little bit of that orange showing up in West Texas, so probably some subsidence in that area. And you can see the anticyclonic curvature about right in this area here. So this is probably a bit of shortwave ridging in that region. So pretty much we're just waiting for the system to come in from the southwest. And let's check that out. I don't think I brought up that panel. Okay, there's our isobars and thickness. Very well defined trough from Wichita out to Tennessee there. So that's possibly a larger scale warm front, and in here there's probably a few boundaries. And let's see, as we go further west, looks like a Bear Clinic system there around Las Vegas, and possibly a cold front extending through Southern California, kind of like that. So this is the system that's heading for Texas for tomorrow. So we'll go ahead and look at the forecast, and I'm going to have to kind of move us through this because I've got dinner waiting. So let's start out with the mesoscale forecast. This is the NAM from INSEP. And let's just look at the pattern that we've got for tonight and tomorrow. Tonight, some warm air advection showers in East Texas and western Arkansas there. And we're starting to see the appearance of some cyclogenesis there south of Childress, south of Vernon. However, not a whole lot of strong troughing or cyclogenesis out in West Texas. So we get maybe 1008 millibars right there around Lubbock, but not much of a pressure gradient in this area here. So that'll probably help keep the low-level jet kind of on the low side there. Warm air advection showers really get going after dawn in Louisiana. Then during the day, yeah, some weak pressure falls out in this area. And then it looks like by evening, they're kind of centered in this area, the Colorado River Basin around San Saba, south of Brownwood. That may get a little bit of a warm front going in this area here. Actually, that's probably a configuration kind of like that being suggested by the NAM data. So I would probably keep an eye on this area here, even though the precip fields are not really showing much at this time. However, the main area forcing appears to be up in this region here, around Arkansas, and you can see that start to come together and move very quickly down into Mississippi. So not very much going on according to the NAM. And then the main forcing spreading in from the west late Saturday night into Sunday. So it looks like some showers moving into Texas, and now you can see high pressure moving in, pushing some cold air southward. Now what I did is also brought up some of the other NAM runs. This is the HRW, this is the high resolution window. This is being run by NISL, apparently. I don't know too much about their model there, but I'm just going to show you very quickly the fields that it's got. This is a 12Z run from this morning. You can see the warm advection precip going overnight tonight, and then we get to dawn tomorrow, and then kind of a break across Texas and Arkansas. And then towards dusk, it's signaling a bit of deep convection going on around McAllister. And you can see that taken off in western Arkansas, moving rapidly to the east there. So around Little Rock down I-30 by midnight, and then moving into Mississippi by just before dawn. So things look kind of far east as far as any severe weather, and it does look kind of marginal. This is the, I don't know what the source on this is. This is the non-hydrostatic mesoscale model, HRW. I guess this is INSEP. And this is tomorrow evening around dusk. Breaks out precip. Hang on a second. I'm sorry. Okay, that's tonight there. Okay, so there's the warm air advection stuff in Louisiana. And then we look up north, and yeah, it starts breaking up some deep precip up a little further north around I-40. And then you kind of see what's going on here. And this has got a little bit more of a kind of a bow echo appearance there. So some sort of boundary is likely in this area. And now we're up to midnight tomorrow night, and kind of an MCS moving through southern Arkansas and northern Mississippi. And then the other run I have is the Arakawa, ARW, WRF. I think this is, I don't know what the source on this one is, but the ARW is a much more sophisticated dynamics package. And let's see. And it's got pretty much the same thing, some precip around south of Muskogee, south of Fort Smith, just after dusk tomorrow night, and moving through Arkansas. So that appears to be the mode that we're looking at. Just a little bit of precip in this area, and then moving through Arkansas overnight. And the main area that I'm going to be keeping an eye on tomorrow is Texas, in this area here. We're probably going to be a little bit too capped, possibly. I think that's what it's indicating here. None of the models have broke out any precip in that region. However, it does pay to pick through the models and see what's going on. And let me show you what I'm talking about here. This is the significant tornado parameter from the basic NAM 3 kilometer. So let's run this forward. This is tomorrow morning, and then afternoon. And you can see it's got some sort of center here, just north of Austin, around Round Rock, Lampasas. But not much going on up in this region here, so probably the severe prospects in Arkansas and southeast Oklahoma may be a bit on the low side. So I think this is probably going to disappoint a lot of chasers tomorrow. However, let me show you the soundings in this area here. This is a sounding just northwest of Austin. And you can see that there is some capping in this area. There's also some steep lapse rates right in the area, and some decent moisture. So it's definitely possible we could squeak something out in that area, and quite a bit of cape up above that region. So I think we're going to have to kind of pay attention to that area west of Waco, northwest of Austin. And let me give you the surface patterns real quick. The steeper lapse rates, as you can see tomorrow, those are going to be up in Oklahoma. However, I think that area is going to be a little bit more capped. All right, where's our dew point? Yeah, I had a dew point panel up. Let me try to find that here. Okay, well, I'll give you theta E, which works fairly well. This is kind of a combination of temperature and dew point, but it's especially responsive to dew point. And this is tomorrow evening around 3 p.m. you can see that there are higher theta E's in that area right there around Austin. So yeah, up in Oklahoma, theta E's are lower, and you can see that the air trajectories are a little bit more recycled. So I think if I was chasing, I would probably keep an eye on that and maybe consider venturing down south. The other factor here, you can see the wind field looks kind of weak. I don't see any plots over 10 knots. So that's going to be a problem there. I do see a little bit of convergence in this area. See that point convergence? That's certainly supportive of deep convection. So once again, we're going to have to keep an eye out down to the south west of Waco. Okay, let me go ahead and move things along and look at the GFS. And as far as tomorrow, if I'm feeling up to it, we'll probably run a special during the afternoon and kind of cover this unfolding weather event. If it looks like kind of a poor risk for tomorrow, then we'll just do the usual webcast at 8 p.m. Okay, GFS. Let's see here. Get that centered. There's that pressure fall in northwest Texas. And then tomorrow evening looking like this here. Looks like some sort of warm front. It could be up north, could be down south, and it could be even a secondary warm front. Then the cold front, that's going to be up like this here. And that'll connect back up into that system out in Arizona. So sort of like that. And then overnight, there goes the deeper stuff into Mississippi, and then the main weather system coming out of the Rockies. This cold front pushes into Texas, driven by this 1034 millibar high across the Dakotas, and even a little bit of snow breaking out right there in Albuquerque. So by Sunday evening, we're looking like this, pretty well devoid of cold air. Let me back that up. Getting a lot of cold air and dry air coming southward. And then the system itself moves from Arkansas into Georgia there. So maybe a little bit of support there for maybe some scattered thunderstorms in that region right there. Then going into Monday, system moves off the Carolina coast and looks like that heads out into the Atlantic. Maybe the New York City area being kind of grazed there. 1034 high moves southward, so some cool weather for the work week. And then here comes the next system out from the west. This is Wednesday. And then another shot of energy for Thursday. And then Friday, it makes its big push into Arizona, and that looks like a mess there. So that's going to be in Texas by Saturday there. Probably dry line formation in that area. Good warm front there. And here comes the cold front. So this could have a little bit more forcing than we saw with tomorrow's system. So this may be a little bit stronger. And yeah, 990 millibars, this is definitely strong. Okay, there that goes into the Midwest. Frontal boundary kind of looks like that. Clears out of Texas on Tuesday. A little bit of an occlusion there. And then that moves into the northeast U.S. and then here comes the next system that is dry for the 25th. Okay, well, I've got to be going now, so I will leave you with that, and you can pick through the rest of the data there on sites like College DuPage and Pivotal Weather. And like I said, we'll try to join up tomorrow and cover this in more detail. So until tomorrow, have a good evening. Thanks.